This is the XAMPP control panel. Whenever you open your browser. So here you can see whenever you open your control panel, in order to create database, you have to turn on these two options. Means you have to click start on here. I have already started these two server modules. So that's why the option showing here is wrong. So whenever we want to use database, then the thing that we have to do is to create our uh, uh, control panel like this. And after that, we have to start the Apache and MySQL server. Okay. Hope so you understand that. So you have to open this localhost PHP myadmin. So if you don't know how to do that, here you will write PHP myadmin opens like this. So I have already opened that. So you can click here. So you can see this will automatically open. Now, what you have to do? Here you have to create a database name. First of all, we will create a database name. In that database name, we will create tables and then we will insert our data in that. You have to click here on new. In new tab, you have to write the name of the database and then we will click on create. I have already created this database. So instead of that, this new, we will open our old. So now, let's suppose we have created a database with the name of school. So the name of our database will be school. Now, why we have taken this name? Because we want the user to create a database that will take data from the student form and we will able to insert data in that database table. So in this way, we can add that. Now, the second thing is to name the database table name. So you have to give the names to your database table. So we can give any name to our database table, like it can be completely your choice what name you want to give. So you can name it as students database. So here, what we will do, we will name our database. So we will do that step by step. So here we will write students because the name of our table will be students. And how many columns we want? Let's suppose on our table, the form we have created, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So here we will write 4. After that, we will create the table. So let's suppose here we have to name each and every column. Okay. And we have to specify the index. So you can see that here the form we have created, we have name, email, age, and city. So here we will give the first as name. So we will write here the name database. So you have to make sure that whatever the name you are going to give should be according to the name that is written in the form. But if your name is not correct, then what will happen? It will not align with your code. So here we will give 4 values like name, email, age, and city. So we will give them one by one. So here I will write name. Now we know that it is name. So we will specify a data type like varchar. Char variable character means that how many characters we want to insert as a name. Means how many characters are allowed it for us. So here we can say that 50. Almost we can say that a name should be can be up to 50 characters long. So we will give a length to that, and we know that it is very unique. So we will name it as it will be our primary key. For our primary key, we named it as this. Then we have to second. Now in the second, we have to write the second column, that will be our email. So we will write here email. So we will not specify the data type. It will automatically specify that itself, like whether it is a very character data type, whether they need the numerical data type. So it will depend upon what they need. After that, let's name it as this. Then after that, after the email, we have the third character. That was the age. And then we have city. So first of all, we will write age. And then we will write city. Now, age is also an integer and city can be a variable character. So we know that age can be only, let's give the length 4. Okay. Now it is done. Now we are done with this and we will save this. So here is a problem. Let's suppose we want 40 characters long and then save it. So I think there is some problem. I think here we haven't include a variable length. So 20 I think is fair enough. So now it's going to save our table. Now you can see that we have a table. This table is created with the name. We have type, we have collection, everything is here. We have email. Now whenever the data is submitted in the form, it is going to be saved here. So this is how we will set our database. You have any questions till now? Let me know. Is it clear how you can create your database table? Okay, good. Just to specify, have you installed XAMPP server? I told you to install XAMPP. Okay. In XAMPP, after installing XAMPP, you have to turn on the two panel options. I show you Apache and MySQL. After starting both Apache and MySQL, you have to log into the localhost PHP myadmin. If you write PHP myadmin on Google, it will automatically redirect you that side. Okay. After doing that, again repeating these steps, you have to click here on new. On new, after clicking on new, you have to give a name to your database. As I mentioned that the name of our database is school. So in the school database, we have two tables. The first one is new, that was created by mistake. So we will try to delete this one. So let's leave it for now. So here in the student database, we have named our table with the name of the student. So click here on the student database. We have 4 tables: name, age, city, and how we can do that. I also told you how to do that. So let's refresh it. Okay, now it's going well. So this is how you will do that. Okay. Now, after that, we have to write a code for it. So I have created a new folder. So in the last lecture, I have explained you how you can write an HTML and CSS. So I told you in the lecture that how we can create a form. So simply I have just created a form. In that we have a label. I told you that label is used to give a label. In the label we have name, input type text. We have learned all of these things in the last lecture. If you still have confusion with the code, let me know. If not, then we will directly go towards the code for our PHP. Okay. Very important thing. In the form, you might notice there are two new attributes. This action is equals to submit.php is the name of the file that we will use for the backend. Here, we create a new file submit.php because the backend language which we are going to use to access our database is PHP. So that's why we name that file submit.php. So here in the form, we have to take an action on this file. So we will write. Then we have two methods, post method and get method. So in get method, if we write the method get, then we want some data to be get from that form. But in the post method, we want to enter some data into the database. So we use here post method. Mostly the post method is used, so that's why I have write the post method here. Now the second thing, this form might look like this. We have name, email, age, and city. And then at the end, we have the submit button. Now, if I enter some data manually, like name, if we write any name like this, and email, just a random email, and then age, we will write, and then city, we will set. So, if I submit this form, nothing will happen. So why? Because we have not any backend attached with it. So that's why it's saying the page is looking for some information to enter. So we have no information, so it will not do anything. You can see that submit.php is here, but we have nothing to submit. So we are getting back to our form. Now how we can do that? Now we have to go to this submit.php and create a connection with the database server. Now how we will do that? So the first thing that we have to do is to create the PHP file. In PHP, the data is written in the PHP tag like this. Here. And we have to also close this tag. Just like in whenever we write the HTML code, we write HTML tag. Similarly, here in the PHP tag, we have to write the PHP code. So how we will close that? Now we have opened this tag, so we also have to close this. So this is how we will close our PHP tag. Now I think I have made some mistake here. So you have to take care how we can open and close a tag. So I think like this. No, it's perfect. Now here we will write our complete code related to backend. First thing that we have to do is to create the details of the database connection. Means what is the name of the table, what is the username, everything, every detail about that. So here I am writing a command database connection details like this. Now here in the connection details we will write like the name of the host, the DB name, the username and the password. So we will write all the details here. Now we are using the local host, so we create a variable like host. So we have learned about variables in C++. Variables are used to hold some information. So in the host, we will host variable, we will write it is the local host. So if you notice here, you can see the host name is the local host. Is it visible? So here we will write localhost as the name of that variable. So let's do it. Localhost. Please take care that your names, your spelling should be correct. if there is some problem with your spelling, then you cannot access your database. Then the name of your database. So we database name, we will create a variable like DB name. DB stands for database, and we use a abbreviation of that. And here if you see here, what is the name of our database? It is school, right? The name of our database is school. So we will write school here in double quotes. After that, we have to specify the name of the table. Means what is the username? Mostly we are using the local host, so that's why the username uh, is always root. So remember that whenever we use local host like Apache, we use the username as root. So we will write username equals to we have root. Now, mostly after that, we have to provide them the password details. Mostly we are using the local, so we have no password, so we will leave it as blank. So we will write password blank like this and this. No, this is the detail that is for that we are going to provide them for the database. So we are done with this. Now, the second thing is whether we are going to connect with the database or not. So we will try to connect with the database. So we will write try like this. And try and catch are two different methods where we try to enter our query and see if we can do that or not. So we will write some block of code for try in the try block like this. After that, in the catch block, if there is any error, so this block of code will catch that error like this. So there is some problem with that. So let's find that problem. Why it is showing us the error. So, okay, we will figure it out later. So let me see what's the problem here. So we have a syntax error. We will fix this later. So here, now again we have still an error. So let's see what's the error is. Okay, we will figure it out later. Now, after that, after providing them the information about that, we have to try to connect with the database. So we will, in the try block, we will write that code. We will write try. And then we will create a variable. For connection, we will write cons. Cons means that we are going to connect with the database. So make sure that you are writing the correct spelling. Then we will create new connection. So we will create new post request. And in the brackets, we have to provide them the SQL database host. Let's suppose we have the host, means all the variables you have to provide them here. Means every detail that you have, like your MySQL is the host, all of these name of the variables you have to write here like this. Now we know that MySQL host is this $host, And in the database name, we have this database, and then we have the user and the password. Now the connection is created, means we have to establish a connection with that. Now after that, we have to set if there is any error with that attribute. So we will run a line for that too. So we will write here a comment for to prevent that. We will write this. So it will remove if there is any error on it. Okay. So there is some problem with this, and we not able to figure out what is the error here. So we will view the problem. In this way we can problem with the variable. So we will figure it out later, because still our focus is on how we can do that. Now we have to prepare a query to insert the data here. We was writing in the wrong file. Also now that error is given. So here, let me explain the code to you first. So first I told you that we will write a new variable, this. Here we will provide them the queries like who is the host here. We have declared this host, so we will refer it as. Then the database name, yes, we have a database name school. So we instead of school, we will provide them that variable. And the username and the password, we provide them all of these variables. Now the second thing is we have to set a PDO error mode if there is any error. So you just have to provide the set of the attributes and this line of code to ensure that there will be not any error. Now, second is to prepare the SQL queries. So in the theory lecture, I have explained you that in order to access the database, we have to write some queries to access the database, as well as to delete the data from the database or to insert the data into the database. So we will prepare a SQL query to insert the data. Let's suppose we want to insert the data from the database. So here we will write SQL, a new variable that is responsible to inserting the data. So insert into is a query. So we will write insert into, which in this student table. What we have to insert? You have to provide that we have to insert the name. Okay. Then we have to insert the email, age, and city. And what are the values? We want the values of the name, email, age, and city. That's it. It means that you have write the query. And then in the statement variable means we want to connect this query. So we will say that connect this connection, prepare it with this SQL query, this one. So these are the two lines that are very important. Now we have to bind the parameters from the input. Now let's suppose here we have to bind all of these parameters with this PHP. So we will write bind parameter. PARM stands for parameter. Then we have to bind the name with the post name. Post name, I told you that the method we are going to use is the post. And we have the names we have given there. See, so we are going to bind everything with these names. So here in the PHP, we write the post name, and these are all the names that we have written in the name attribute. So we will write all of these names here. Now this is also done. After that, we will execute. For executing the query, we have a statement called execute function. So the execute function will execute the query. Now, this is what we want to do in the our try block. After that, if there is any error, if the statement is executed, you will give a message that new record is created successfully. If not, you will say that connection fails and we will get a message. So our code is completed here. Now let's see, is it works or not? So here we will refresh our page like this. So let me erase this line from here. So let's add some, click on that button and then we update or refresh our MySQL database. So we will see that the data is almost inserted there. So this is how we will write the queries for inserting the data. Okay. So you can do the same and you have to try and do more practice. So this is the CSS that we have write for it. For this, like in the body tag, we have provided the background color. In the container, these are the colors. So have you visited the W3 School website where I told you to get the deep detail about the CSS and HTML? You can also, for doing the PHP lectures, okay, good. If it is clear. For PHP lectures, I recommend you to go also on W3 School, where you will learn more about this PHP and how we create the database. So in the last lecture, I have told you that how we can create HTML and CSS, and that was the last and most important part, how we can connect the database with the front-end server. So we will not go deeply in PHP, just our basic focus is to see what is the, how we can connect our database with our main website. So we have different website for doing the same thing. Like we have Node.js, we have Python, means we can use different languages for that purpose. So let's see how much content we have covered from your course outline. And let's see that first. So we were requested to produce interactive pages. Just we have learned about the different, how we can create the pages. Then we should also provide, I guess we know the text font colors. We have also studied this. And the third thing we have to do is how we can test that web pages. So we will learn about testing now, and after that we will publish the website online. So I will told you that how we can publish the website online. So we have different platforms where we can publish our web pages. So the third topic for our next lecture will be the testing and how we can publish our content to the website. Now here we can write the domain names, how we can provide the hosting, which service which should take to deploy our website to the main server. Now, what is the meaning of publish here? Publish means that if you notice that whenever we were writing our code, in the top search bar, the localhost was appear. It means that we are not delivering our website or deploying our website to the main server. So in deployment phase, what we do, we will transfer our website from local server to the main server. So we have different, let's suppose if you want to practice your skills, so we have different platforms like Netlify that allows us to provide, they will give us a subdomain name. Now, what is domain name? We will also go through in the next lecture and how we can deploy it. So again, you just don't need to learn deeply about PHP. Database. Now the question is when we need to create the database. Mostly the database is created for forms. If we want to submit that data into the forms like this, so I will provide this code, and what you have to do, you just have to practice this code. You will create a new folder, and just if you want to change your form names, like here you want to change the email with some attributes, so you just have to do some changings here. and then here means where the values you want to change, and that's it. You will leave the rest of the code as it is, and then you will run that code. So that is all the things that you have to do. Okay. So if you have any question till now, let me know.